Good morning, Martin from the Philippines. We're here in Real Talk Lifeline. So, for this quick live today, it's a Tuesday, January 30, 2024. This one is called Bawal ang Nega. So, this is a Tagalog term. I just used Google Translate and it literally translates to negativity is not allowed. So, what is this term for this quick live today? Bawal ang nega. I would hear that term in recent years in the workplace, in the office, and maybe you've heard it somewhere, social media, in the mainstream, like that catchphrase, catch line, bawal ang nega. So what that means is negativity is not allowed. Now, people who say that, I would like to think that they have good intentions behind it. They try to remain positive. And there's another side to it which I actually totally disagree with. So, why? The context is it's coming from a place of force or suppression. So, the question of this quick live is it okay to feel negative? Because this is just me and people watching the live or the replay. Feel free to comment down below if you can relate to the topic and you have experience and it might help me or someone else as well. So I grew up in an environment, all boys school, grade school, high school, and even growing up through work in my work life, this is part of the culture or the programming, like the indoctrination, wherein it really wasn't encouraged or supportive if a person would act a certain way in a negative way. So for a guy, it's like if you act weak, the more they would pick on you. If you were going through some problems, it's more like keep it to yourself. Uh, don't be a nuisance, right? If the vibes are heavy, don't drag other people down. So I get why this saying is said. Now, how can we be constructive about this? So again, people watching the live or the replay, comment down below if you have some tips of your own and it might help me or someone else. So I'll leave you guys with three quick tips for this one, this quick live. Bawal ang nega, negativity is not allowed. So from my personal experience, I believe that it's actually okay to feel negative and it's actually very healthy when you do it properly. Why? I learned all emotions are valid. It's not about being right or wrong. I encourage you to explore the whole range of feelings, emotions that you have. Because why? We either end up suppressing it or expressing it. Now, whenever we suppress it, just like this line down below here, when we suppress it, the tendency is it bottles up, it builds up, and then it blows up or it explodes later on. And sometimes in the worst or most untimely of places, like in work, a family gathering or encounter, maybe with a friend, maybe in public, like that. Now, if we get to express it, then that negativity or that emotion, whether it be anger, frustration, uh, any emotion or feeling that people would normally classify as negative, when we express it, we actually allow it to run its course. So it ends up just flowing in a healthy way. So it's released from us. So what I learned, I'm just gonna borrow this lesson. I love this one. I learned this from Royce. So Royce T, I was training him as a co-facilitator alongside him with Coach Bam, his training. He taught me this lesson. So Royce taught me that Martin, there's a healthy and unhealthy expression of everything, every emotion. So it really hit me deep because it felt like a universal principle, or like a core principle that struck me. So Martin, give an example. So for example, anger can actually be healthy. So if someone is actually fighting you, like for the guys here, physically, maybe you're a girl too, but you take up MMA, boxing, training like that. Anger can actually be healthy because it gives us the energy to actually stand our ground, set a personal boundary, and then fight back, let's say in self defense if we have to. Now, what's an unhealthy expression of anger? So this is commonly, it's like when someone lashes out. So maybe someone's in the office, the workplace, maybe someone's at home, throws a plate, breaks it, sometimes ends up hurting other people in the process, family members or whoever was there to witness it, right? Causing probably physical hurt, cut, bleeding, emotional trauma, etc. So anger, that's an example of unhealthy expression of it. Now you'll say, Martin, healthy and unhealthy expression, is that true even for positive emotions, right? Positive feelings. So short answer is yes. I also learned that. So for example, when a person is very loving or helpful, for example, easy, healthy expression is we end up helping another person, we end up nurturing the other person, we end up solving a problem, making life better for for the world, right? So what's an unhealthy expression of that, of being loving or helpful? Well, when the person is already, when it gets too much, for example, overbearing, um, not allowing the person to learn on their own. So instead of autonomy or encouraging them to be independent, they end up becoming codependent, or they call that learned helplessness. So it's too much sakal, like a parent to a child, and then it's too much. The love is too much. That unhealthy expression is, yeah, whatever insecurities or fears of the parent end up passing down to the child. So moving forward, so we got that down on healthy and unhealthy expression. All emotions are valid. Number two tip, it's called a reframe. So when we deal with negative emotions, what is a reframe? You can turn a negative into a positive. So a term I like to use here is called alchemy. So alchemy back in the day, it's when you turn lead into gold. It's like magic, right? You can the Midas touch. You can turn shit into gold. You can turn a bad into good, right? So what is an example of a reframe? For example, I just did an ice bath yesterday, actually last night, and it was not easy. It was a cold day, cold night, windy. I was already shivering even before entering the cold water. So you can convert that pain, that fear into strength. Now just for the sake of time, there's a process to that. Comment deep dive down below if you want to learn and experience. Join us next time. If you want to experience that. So the reframe is you can turn a negative, so whatever you're experiencing negatively, into something positive. Now, there is a nuanced step on this. It's not about avoiding the emotion. So when I learned to do an ice bath properly, it's not about cheating it or brute forcing, because the more we actually resist it, it's also kind of like suppressing it. So we don't process the emotion properly, and it can even form into trauma like that. So that's the next one, the reframe. Last tip for this quick live, Bawal ang Nega. How do we deal with negativity constructively? The third tip is called release responsibly. So I learned this lesson, part of my training. And what does release responsibly mean? So we're doing it right now. There is an environment, a space, the right people that you can go to, and you can actually express your negative emotions. So whether it be anger, whether it be anxiety, whether it be depression, when you go to the right people, the right place, the right environment, you will actually feel safe or be allowed to express it fully without judgment. And the person is actually trained enough or has the capacity to experience it, sometimes even feel it or process it with you. Now, I'll give you a hint. This is just learned from hard experience. And don't worry, guys, I'm going to read your comments. I see you watching the live. I see your reactions, the love, the likes, your comments. Thank you so much. It helps. I love it. So, the last step here on releasing responsibly is when done right, it's very healing. Now, the harsh reality is if we just try to release our negative emotions in public, sometimes even with our family, sometimes with our friends or people at work, I would say 80%, maybe even 90% of the time, like most of the time, people will not know how to handle it. This is just from personal experience, again, part of my training, people I've witnessed. Now, the very few people where you find an environment where you actually can release it. So some might call that like a break room. You can blow off steam. It's a safe room like that. A person who can actually hold space or sit down and listen to you non-judgmentally. Um, that that is the right space. That is the right or responsible way to release negativity. Of course, with consent. Like you don't just go shouting or releasing anger to some person and then without their knowing. So, quick recap, and I'm going to read the comments. Bawal ang nega. Negativity is not allowed. Actually, it is okay to feel negative. What are three quick tips on to be constructive? How do we handle it? One, so all emotions are valid. Explore your feelings. Why? We either end up suppressing it or expressing it. And there is a healthy and unhealthy expression for every emotion. Number two, reframe. What does that mean? We can turn a negative into a positive. So, a term I like using is alchemy. And then number three, it's release responsibly. So, if you're curious on how to release responsibly, you're still wondering, how do I do that? I want to experience it. Comment deep dive down below, deep dive, and I will reach out to you and help you with it. So I'm going to read the comments over here very quick. So, good morning, Kat. Yeah, it's like 8:07 a.m. early morning here. Also, Tony, who's a life coach. So, hi, Tony. Good morning to you both, to Kat and to Tony. Thank you for watching this live again. Bawal ang nega, translation of that is negativity is not allowed. Personally, I don't believe that. Uh, it's actually okay to feel negative. And then, Nick, I believe, yeah, you're here for the support ever. If you do want a deep dive, I would reach out to you. Just message me, send me a DM or a PM. And if you have any negative emotion that you want to process, I'm going to go through the three. There's a healthy and an unhealthy expression of it, whichever emotion it is. Let's explore. Number two, what is a reframe? How do we turn a negative into a positive? Let's do some real magic in this world. It's called alchemy. Number three, release responsibly. So you will have a space where it's actually safe and you can release whatever negative or whatever emotion that is responsibly with someone who's actually trained or willing to be there with you. So, last comments here, Nick. If you want me to reach out to you, hit me up. We're all in this together. So thank you for the community right here. Thank you, Nick. We're all just helping each other. So comment deep dive down below if you want help with that. So deep dive, and I will reach out to you and help you turn your negative into a positive. So I'll just listen to you first. You want help with it, take it to the next level. I will support you with that. Thank you. I love you, and I will see you next time.